It doesn't seem to matter. They can pretty much sit down on this game.
We've gone over this 100 times. Auburn, Oregon, win, they're in. Boise,
They just got to win out.
TCU, they need.
To win and hope that Oregon.
TCU needs one of them to lose. Boise needs any two of those three to lose. That's it. Bottom line. Everybody else, with the possible exception of LSU, is out. I don't think LSU is going to get in.
Dan.
So anyway, so that's where that stands. We got a few other interesting games. We got a lot to talk about next Tuesday.
Yes, we do.
Because the results of these games are probably going to determine, unless we have, even if Auburn wins.
Do we have any college games this? Yeah, we do. We have Texas of course, Texas A&M at Texas.
Yeah, you got some other. You got some other rivalry games. Texas A&M, Texas. You got the backyard brawl at Pittsburgh with West Virginia going in there.
Oh, and you also have a Louisville Rutgers 11 a.m. game.
Yeah. Why? Who cares?
Why does? Oh my gosh.
You got the game for the Old Oaken Bucket.
Yes.
Indiana at Purdue.
Ooh.
You got the game.
The game.
Michigan at Ohio State. All right.
It doesn't have a name. It's just the game.
No, that's like Yale Harvard. The game. Harvard won that game last week, by the way.
Yeah.
Florida State holding.
Florida.
They're hosting Florida.
Yep.
That game.
Yep.
Has been Florida lately. Florida State wins this week. That game is up in Tallahassee.
Ooh.
Oklahoma State hosting Oklahoma in the Bedlam game. This game's at Oklahoma State. They're a 2.5-point favorite over Landry Jones.
Rivalry weekend.
Yeah, well, of course, yeah.
This is the big one.
Yeah. So that game there, that's an interesting game because I like Landry Jones. I think he's going to be a high draft pick. All right? I think Landry Jones is going to be like the second tier of quarterbacks. I think Luck and Moore are going to come out early in the first round, maybe even 1-2, depending on who's drafting. And then I think you have Jones coming out after that.
Jake Locker. I'm completely having a brain fart right now. Who does Landry Jones play for?
Oklahoma.
That's right. Jesus Christ.
Then, of course, you got Jake Locker coming out. So we have quite a few quarterbacks coming out. The kid from Oregon, well, he's more of a running quarterback.
He's not. He wouldn't make it in the NFL. He's like Andre
Probably
Dixon.
not.
He's like Dennis Dixon. Is that his name?
Yeah, no. Dennis Dixon was like 4 years ago.
Yeah, well, he played for the same team.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. He's like pretty much the spitting image of the guy. Except he doesn't have any Heisman Trophy chances.
It's not New Mexico State. TCU's at New Mexico.
At New Mexico.
Yeah. 44-point favorite.
Is that at night? No, well, it's 4 o'clock. Ugh.
Yeah.
Jesus. You can watch that game on Versus.
Yeah. North Carolina at Duke. No, that's not Mike Krzyzewski, is it? That's a football game. Okay, who cares? But I tell you, Nebraska lost last week to Texas A&M. Does Nebraska still have the leg up in the Big 12 title game from the Big 12 North?
You know what? I would. That one's up in the air a little bit. I would think. Texas A&M. Obviously, they had that.
They got the tie. They beat Missouri. They got the tiebreaker there over Missouri. Nebraska does.
You know,
and they lost to Oklahoma.
Now, Nebraska. Who are they playing this week?
Nebraska is playing. They're hosting Colorado.
Okay.
When does Arizona State play? That's next week. And UCLA and Southern Cal's next week. So we got some more rivalries next week. Also, the game for the Apple Cup, Washington and Washington State. That's next week. So, and Stanford Cal. The band is in the field game. So,
the band is on the field.
So we got 2 weeks in a row where we got a lot of rivalry games. The Arizona State games always has a lot of spice to it.
Oh, yeah.
And then, of course, the same weekend we have some of these conference title games, Army-Navy. Which has a little juice to it this week because Army is not that bad. They're 6-5.
They're not that bad.
All right.
Trust me, I've seen them play. They are a good team.
They're getting better. They're not good. They beat the
out,
bad teams.
They figured out how to run that option.
They've beaten the bad teams and they've lost to the good teams. So they're getting there. I mean,
what do you mean they've lost to the good teams? They lost to Rutgers.
Yeah. They lost to Notre Dame. They lost to Air Force. They're probably going to lose to Navy again.
Rutgers isn't that good.
For like the umpteenth time. I'm looking at – so we got a lot of rivalry games next week, but the big ones are Friday, the Friday Feast, Boise, Nevada. Auburn at Alabama.
By the way, Nebraska doesn't have that thing locked up yet for him yet.
All right.
Doesn't have it locked up.
Well, I know they got 2 losses.
Yep.
All right. It depends on who they. I think they lost to Oklahoma State, didn't they?
They lost to Texas A&M and Texas.
Texas A&M. All right, those are 2 teams in the other on the Big 12 South. So if they have a tiebreaker against Missouri, which I think they do, they beat Missouri. Missouri lost again this past week. So I think Nebraska probably has the inside track.
Right.
All right, they probably do. And it looks like if Oklahoma State beats Oklahoma, I think they're going to get in from the Big 12 South.
Listen, I'm going to end on this note. This entire weekend,
Right.
it's probably
going to be crazy in college.
Crazy best football
All right.
weekend.
All right, we got
for the game.
We got TCU plays Saturday, but when they're going to win. But the other 3 games, the games that could throw everything into a frenzy, are Friday. You have the 3 games on Thursday in the NFL.
Got that game right there. The Ironclad game.
The Ironclad game. Well, they call it the Ironclad, the Iron Gate, whatever.
Iron Gate, whatever.
All right.
Iron something.
Well, there's a lot of nickname games. When Minnesota plays Michigan, that's a game for the Little Brown Jug. When Minnesota plays Wisconsin, it's a game for the Paul Bunyan's Axe.
Yep.
So there's the Apple Cup game, Washington State, the Civil War game, Oregon State, Stanford Cows. Another one's just called the game. All right.
The game.
All right. Just like Southern Cal and UCLA, but UCLA is bad this year. So Southern Cal will win that game. So we got a lot of other rivalry games coming up the next couple of weeks as we eat our leftover turkey. Great weekend coming up starting Thursday afternoon, right on to Sunday night.
Okay, final point before we end this. Joe Paterno expected to return next year.
Really?
Yes.
Well, they're hosting Michigan State this week.
Yep.
All right. So we'll see. Anyway, we had a great time. We had a guest on with us on one of our segments, a guy named Danny, who's a student over here. Me and Sean are grads at the Connecticut School of Broadcasting. And we'll have our video problem wrapped up next week.
As he gives me,
Well,
a dirty look.
Our first 2 segments this week, we had the video going.
Yeah.
Last 2 segments we didn't. But next week we'll have everything cinched
Yes,
up, and
yes,
maybe
we will.
Danny will be back with us again.
Yeah, we'll
anyway, to everybody, on behalf of Sean and Danny, this is Mike. Have a great Thanksgiving.
Have a great Thanksgiving.
Make sure that you drive safely. Be a lot of traffic. Black Friday, have a great time doing your shopping.
I stay inside that day.
Next week, I'll give you my address to send all the gift cards to, and then. But everybody, I'm going to have all my family over. Have a great holiday weekend, people. We'll see you next Tuesday. For Sean and for Danny, this is Mike. See you later.
I'll see you Tuesday.